Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Dental Handoff. I'm Dr. Kelly Tanner, and today I have with me one of the wonderful hygienists who has made her own way in the profession of dental hygiene, Deb Daniel. Deb, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I know that our listeners are always interested in everyone's journey. So tell us why dental hygiene for you. Why did you choose hygiene?
The honest answer was that I was 19. I had done 1 year of university, and I didn't think that sort of a doctor was gonna be my pathway, so I was looking at nursing or hygiene. And hygiene paid better, and it was less school. So that was my 19-year-old decision making.
Yeah. And so it sounds like, though, that you knew that you wanted to care for people.
Absolutely, I always knew I wanted to work in healthcare in some capacity.
Yeah. And so after dental hygiene school, was dental hygiene school everything you expected for it to be? Was it like the things that you thought you would be able to provide and you were like, "Oh yeah, I get to care for patients in the way that I thought this was gonna roll out." Was that something that happened for you?
I think because it was so intense, the 2 years of school, I think my focus was on getting to that finish line.
Mhm.
Um, and I was really intrigued by public health and some of the other expanded opportunities from hygienists, and I think that was what was sort of driving me. It was to be finished and to be able to start providing care, but also I knew my journey wasn't done
Oh,
when I was finished that.
yeah, it just begins, doesn't it? It's like barely the beginning.
I mean, I graduated at 21. It was really the beginning for me.
Yeah. A lot of times students will graduate and they're like, "All right, how come I don't know about all of this stuff?" And it's like, "Well, that's all the stuff that comes after you graduate. We had to teach you like all the core skills to be comfortable and confident and competent at a novice level." So you practiced for a little while and tell us the rest.
So I practiced full time for 5 years. I was probably working 30 to 35 hours a week, but I was
Mm,
also finishing my undergraduate degree at university. So back in the day in 2004, there weren't really a lot of online classes. And transferring credits from college to university here in Ontario, Canada, was not as simple as it is now. People have so many more options transferring credits from college to university, but I got very, very little. So I continued with my undergrad. It took me about 4 years to do the remaining 3 years while I was working. And most of those classes were in person, just given that it was 2004
mhm.
time frame. And so, yeah, I did that. I thought I was going into public health. That was like hygienists go into public health.
Yeah.
But I don't think public health wanted me in the end, because when I interviewed for a role and I was telling them that I wanted to do my master's and sort of my goals, the wonderful woman who, as hard as it was at the time, did change my life for the better, even though at the time I didn't realize it, told me I was going to be bored
In public
um,
health.
in public health, and it took me a long time to get over that. But I now to this day realize it was the best thing that happened to me because it put me in a different direction. I finished the classes I needed to then apply for other type of master's programs, and I went the route of Masters of Health Administration instead of public health. And why this was so helpful for me is because what I learned is that I need constant change. And I wanted to work in lots of different areas of healthcare.
Mm.
Uh, and that gave me the opportunity. That master's helped me because I've worked at the hospital, I've worked in the lab, I've worked in home care, I've worked in so many different sectors within healthcare because of it.
That's so cool. Did it All right. So I'm just thinking about you sitting in the chair in this this person telling you public health isn't for you, you're gonna be bored, and, I've been around other faculty who say things like that to people, and I know that it changed your life, but I wonder what did she tell you why she was saying that? Like, why did she tell you you were gonna be bored in public health, and why do you think knowing yourself now or knowing what you know now, she may have said that?
I think because it was a clinical role, and I knew that a clinical role in public health would have only been for a short amount of time. I would have wanted to move into management. I would have
Mm,
wanted to move into other areas, and I think she saw that. I
okay.
think that she saw that I was looking at this as a stepping stone, and that my clinical career was a stepping stone. Um, and looking back at that, I probably didn't do the best interview because they probably didn't want to hear me say those things, right? Because I was interviewing for a very specific role. And if I wanted to get that role, I probably shouldn't have been talking about my future aspirations of wanting to be the queen of public health. But um, in
That's
the
funny.
end, yeah, but in the end, it was the hard truth um, that I needed to hear. And funny enough, when I had applied to like 2 local public health master's programs, one I didn't get into, one I got waitlisted on, and I got into the University of Toronto Masters of Health Administration first shot, even though I had a lot of barriers to that, but I got waitlisted at the public health program. So that's why I say I don't think public health actually wanted me. The universe was not pushing me in that direction. It unfortunately pushed me up the hill that was like a razor sharp mountain of challenges, but it got me to where I am today. So
What do you think because this is a degree that's combined with your experience and your insight as a dental hygienist, where do you think this sort of shined a light on what you thought you knew about yourself? Like, is this something that when you went in, you knew exactly what you wanted to do? Does that make sense? Or did it say, I'm really good at this?
I'm not really sure. I went into it, and I think what was the best thing for me was, and we tell this to everybody who talks to us about education and master's programs, is pick one that has a co-op or a work term, paid or unpaid, because that gives you
Hmm.
work experience while you are in school. And I was very lucky that I got to do 3 paid work terms. I was making, like, student money, um, but it was the best thing because I got to do a student placement in the hospital, in home care, and
Mm.
at a provincial cancer agency. And what it showed me was I really enjoyed projects, because there was always something different. Right? We have to implement this EMR, this electronic medical record. We have new legislation. We need to implement this. We're going through accreditation. We have new infection control projects. And that was what I really liked. The monotony of hygiene was killing me. And this was like the polar opposite, but I didn't know it at the time. I kind of sort of falling into it. And I ended up doing project management, um, and then what I realized was, hey, if I want to get paid more and do more, I need to upskill. So I did my project management
Mhm.
professional, the PMP certification. Um, for a lot of people think that, oh, well, we're going to do our master's in public health or health administration, we're going to be done. Absolutely not. As you move through your career, you realize that you need a new course or a new skill. So I did my
Yes.
change management, my ProSci change management certification because that was the
Mm.
type of work I ended up being in. And all of these like micro credentials help get you to the next step. Um, and that's why, it's not one and done. Um, and maybe you're
Yeah.
happy working as a hygienist, and that's cool. Like, you love working in the clinic, but if you want more, you need to do more and you need to set yourself up for success. Um, and that's what, we're trying to show people, is that it is possible. It was a tough, tough journey for me. Um, Not as much Jess, my partner, from Beyond Dental Hygiene. She had a little bit more of a linear experience. Mine was definitely a lot harder, um, but it's made me who I am, that's for sure. Um, and that's why we are encouraging hygienists to upskill and get more education. If you want to do these things, position yourself to it. Nobody owes you anything because you have a 2-year associate's degree. It's awesome that you have that, but if you want to do something else, you have to get there. You have to be present. Um, and we're
Yes.
here to help, because we didn't have that help, right? I was very lucky to have some wonderful mentors, but they hadn't experienced it.
Yeah. So tell us about the company because you've mentioned it. So what do you guys do to help hygienists?
So we decided to start Beyond Dental Hygiene, or Beyond Clinical Dental Hygiene, not really knowing what we were doing. You know,
Love that.
we're 2
Love that for
we're
you.
Yeah, we're 2 hygienists who, Jess has a master's in, health leadership, and I have a master's in health administration, and she does more government policy type work, and I do more project management and change management. So, we had to figure out how to, like, build a website, and, that's all Jess. She's the we call her the CIO for that reason. Um, and we really just started the Facebook group and nothing else, and sort of launched our website, and we had no services, we had nothing. We were just a group, and we had talked about, like, "Oh, yeah, we probably should help people, like, with their resumes because we see some really crappy resumes that come
Mhm.
not, like, from hygienists, but, like, from clinicians in general,
Mm,
don't know how to have a non-clinical resume or use transferable
oh,
skills,
I
in
see.
their resume. So, someone had asked, and I was like, "Yeah, happy to help." And that's sort of how we started the resume services. And then someone said, "Can you help me prep for an interview?" And I was like, "Sure." And that's how we started that. Um, so we're sort of growing organically, through this, and, posting on other groups. And, it's working with really smart people. For so far, it's been mostly women, helping women. And, when someone emails me and says, "I got the job," it's like the best thing ever for me,
Yeah, that's
is just
awesome.
hearing that we helped them learn how to answer questions in a non-clinical interview format, and then they get the job. Um, so that's the win really for us in all of this. And someone commented on one of our posts, um, and this person works for the National Network of Healthcare Hygienists. And we ended up creating a leadership certificate program for them and with them, that just went live last month.
Wonderful.
So it's really been an organic, sort of growing as we go type work for us. And we're doing it off the sides of our desk with, we both have full time jobs. So, um, yeah, we're learning as we're going. So
Yeah,
women
that's
helping women, and then we're also learning from the people that we help.
absolutely. Yeah, because I think that's the best gift is when that's why I love teaching because I feel like I learn so much every day about I didn't think about it like that. That's awesome. Thank you for telling me that or for teaching me that. So, what if it's a hygienist who's going from a clinical to a non-clinical role, and you're talking about those transferable skills? What are maybe the top 3 skills that the hygienists don't think about that they have that then they can translate into that non-clinical position?
It's a great question. One of the most annoying things that I see on resumes is from hygienist is clean teeth, take x-rays. Okay.
Hmm.
That language is not transferable. Taking x-rays is part of an assessment, right? It's all a piece of an assessment.
Right.
And then what you do is you look at that assessment. You look at the data that you found with probing depths. You look at what you found on the x-rays. You look intraorally. All of those details that you have found are data points,
Hmm.
and that is your assessment. And then from there, you make a plan,
Hmm.
right? A treatment plan in coordination and collaboration with the client or
Okay.
patient, whatever language you like to use. Then you implement, right? That's the big word. You implement the plan.
Hmm.
That includes cleaning teeth, X, Y, and Z. And then you evaluate it, right? They come back in 3 weeks or 3 months, and you're looking at how they did from their baseline to where they are now. Guess what quality improvement is? Guess what project management is? We
Hmm.
look at a problem, we assess it, we then create a plan with the key stakeholders. Then you know what I do? I implement it.
Right.
And
And then
then
you evaluate it.
And then I evaluate it to see if what we put into practice actually works.
Yeah.
So I've implemented electronic medical record as one of my projects. When I worked at a children's hospital, we were implementing, because of accreditation at the time, a pressure ulcer prevention program for children that are in the hospital.
Mm.
So I took research and translated it with the help of key stakeholders and subject matter experts into something that we could practice. And then we evaluated it. So when people write clean teeth, it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's an implementation, right? Like it's the language of assessment, planning,
Hmm.
implementation, evaluation that we do. It's called API, right?
Hmm.
Um, and it's nowhere. Interprofessional collaboration. Do we not work with multiple
For
professions
sure. Yeah.
and multiple stakeholders? This is the language that we don't see.
Hmm.
People don't realize that they are responsible for supply chain management. If they are the people that are ordering, auditing, and setting up the supplies,
Mm.
the people that are OSHA or WMIS or whichever group you follow, depending on where you live, the person that is the lead, that does the monthly audits,
Hmm.
that type of thing. Those are all really transferable skills. I helped one, woman in the US with her resume, and she was talking, "Na, na, 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 na," and then all of a sudden she was like, "Yeah, the people that report to me." I was like, "You're a team lead?" And she's like, "Yeah, I have a team of 7 people." I'm like, "Why isn't it on your resume?"
Yeah.
And she didn't realize that she was a
Right.
manager.
Right.
So if you help new hygienists by training them, getting them set up, part of the recruitment process, right? All of this language is never in a resume. All I see is clean teeth, take x rays. It's
Yeah.
that other stuff
Yeah.
that is transferable that we don't realize we do.
So, how would you recommend that a person would take their day to day if they started off? What kind of exercise do you have them go through? I'm not trying to give away all your secrets, but like if you start off with a resume like this, to back out of it, to say, okay, I want you to think of every single thing you do every week, like your touch points. What are some words of advice that you could give folks to say, here's how you would understand what your strengths and your transferable skills are?
It's looking at your day to day.
Mhm.
So, what do you do on a day to day basis? What is your operational duties? And then what else do you do?
Mhm.
Outside of cleaning teeth and taking x-rays, what else do you do in the office? What else do you do with the people that you work with? Are you responsible for other things? Do you have other duties that you do? Those are where the transferable skills are. And the best part is if you don't have them, you can gain them. You can talk to your employer and say, I'd like to be the joint health and safety or OSHA, or again, whatever
Yeah.
language you use, person who does the monthly audits. I'd like to learn more about the billing and accounting piece of this. Can I spend an hour at the front desk if a patient doesn't show up?
Yeah. Love that.
Those are the type of things that you can get right there. Can I look at our supplies and look at our utilization? Like, we're always ordering gauze. Why are we going through so much gauze?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Looking at that. And we talk about that in our leadership course as well, with the NNHH, which is you can take on a project within your job,
Yes.
and that's how you start getting that experience. But it
Yes.
starts here. And I know it sounds so cliche, but it really has to start from within you. If you want to do more, you need to do more.
Yep. And figure out what makes you happy and to say, okay, if I really like the ordering, maybe that's something I want to take over or ask more about. If I really like the infection control aspect, the OSHA coordinator or what it's called in Canada, or if I really like training mentoring, you could be the person who does the onboarding for the new hygienist. And the processes, the standard operating procedures,
Mhm.
all of those little things that you do, you can light up your world and stay in the op too if you just love staying in the op as well. But think about how you want to grow and what's really going to make you happy in the directions that you're going to change and challenge yourself, right?
Absolutely. And that's where it starts. Right? It really starts at that level. Supply chain management, like you can do a degree, those are highly coveted roles. And there's so much to do in healthcare, in
Mm,
hospitals, in home care, in pharmacy. Like supply chain management isn't just in cars, for example. We think about that. But if you think about the amount of supplies that are used in healthcare facilities, if
yeah,
healthcare is something that you want to do, you could do supply chain management in healthcare. If you love when you get a new hygienist or assistant and you're responsible for training them and onboarding them, human resources in a hospital or home care agency may be something that you're interested in because we have those and they're important roles. Um, so there's so many different things, and it's okay for your clinical career to have an expiry date, right? Like if your body is telling you that you need to stop, um, or you want to do more, that's
mhm.
okay. Um, it's not a failure. It's time to move on, time to move up,
It's growth.
and it's growth, absolutely. And we all need help. I didn't get to where I am. Jess didn't get to where she is without having some mentors and some
Yes.
people that have helped us. Um, Luckily for people out there who are looking for help, there are people who have done it now.
Mhm.
When we were going through this, there was nobody to really
Right.
talk to and say, like, I'm trying to do this. Um, and that's what we're trying to change. And by small groups of hygienists that are getting some of these jobs, that are upskilling, that
Mm,
are redoing their resumes, it's growing the profession from within as well.
yeah.
Um, and it's a process.
And I tell people too that it may be that the job that you have in mind doesn't exist yet. Create it for yourself. Say, I see this issue in our practice or in my organization. How are we addressing this and who's responsible for that? Not like who's responsible for that, but how are we managing that process? What type of support is around that? And ask those questions. And what I have found 9 times out of 10, you have created a job for yourself,
Mhm.
and you're now the expert. You're the first person to do it. You're able to make it and to melt it into something, and it is a stepping stone because now you have a unique skill set.
That's actually how Jess moved up in her career. She's
Mhm.
an American trained dental hygienist who did the degree program, and an office she was working at, she worked with the dentist, and the dentist saw something in her and let her do no, not let her, supported her to do some of these projects, and different, quality improvement initiatives within her practice, and that's how she moved up.
Mm.
Um, that was her experience. So it is possible. Um,
Very, very possible. It
Absolutely.
happens way more than what we realize it does.
The one thing that is probably the hardest for anyone we speak to swallow is that hygienists are a highly specialized, highly educated group of people. And if we're looking to make a change into another area outside of that very specialized work, there's generally a dip in pay to start. And we see a lot of comments in our groups and hear about it a lot of, well, I make, X amount of dollars now per hour. Um, I'm going to drop down. And yes, you are at the beginning, potentially, depending on what the job is. But everyone that I know who has made the transition, there is probably about 2 to 3 years, and then you start becoming on par. And both Jess and I make so much more than we could ever have made clinically. And we have vacation pay, and we have benefits, and we have pensions. So it's some of these transitions are tough. I did it. I went from making at the time in Toronto, $40 an hour as a hygienist to making $16 an hour as a master's student, right? Because I was trying to build my experience. I'm not saying that's going to happen now. I took on a student role, but your salary may drop at the beginning, and that's okay because your long term potential is so much higher.
Mhm. Slow down to speed up
You have to,
for sure.
especially if
You
you're
gotta kinda,
then
like,
you're leaving.
you have to
Yeah,
shoo up,
it is. It's like a
and
little
it could
dip
seem
and
like a big risk, but yeah, but and I've also and I experienced myself where I think it's gonna be one way, and it's like, "You know what? I'm gonna figure this out no matter what." And you do other things to supplement your income, and so you're buffering that, quote, "dip" or that hit that you feel like you're taking, so you still have stability there. So if you think you're limited, then you will be. If you are thinking in possibilities and in abundance, I believe that that's what you attract and you will figure it out. If you got through hygiene school, you're going to figure it out. You can do anything, right?
absolutely, and, like, temping now, you hear that some people are making, like, $80 an hour. Like, you could work 1 or 2 days a week and be awesome,
I
with
know.
the temping salaries these days, while, to sort of level out that, and I actually did that.
Absolutely.
I worked 2 Saturdays a month for years while I was building myself up to keep my practice, and my skills, but also to supplement
Yep.
my
I did
income.
too. Yeah, for sure. Because so there's ways to figure this out, you guys. If it's what you wanna do, you're gonna figure out a way to do it. It's what you've always done to get where you are.
Mhm.
Well, Deb, I just appreciate you being here and for the services that you provide and the support you provide to the hygiene communities to really, it's not only the hygiene communities, you're growing people into where they're destined to be, right? So thanks for supporting those and growing their destiny. So,
Thank
are
you
there
for
any final
having
words that you would like to say to the audience or advice?
you've said it a lot, and it sounds
Absolutely.
cliche, but, like, you really do have to work at it. Um, and if you wanna go somewhere, you've gotta get yourself there. Um, so it's intimidating sometimes. A transition is tough. You knew something and now you wanna do something else, but you have support now.
Mm,
So you're not
right.
alone, and that's what we're here, and that's the community that we're trying to create. So, the last words are, you're not alone. Reach out, get
Yeah.
help. It's available. Um, and you can do it. We've done it. Other people have done it, and other people are doing it. Um, you might need a little bit of support and help along the way, because we all did.
Yeah, absolutely. You're in charge of you. You are
Yeah.
entirely up to you. So reach out. Deb's information, are in the show notes, which are the notes below this. Her contact information is there. Deb, thanks again for being on and sharing your words of advice and for your support. And for all of the audience, I always ask the favor: go on over to Apple Podcasts and give the Dental Handoff a 5-star rating, because the Apple Podcast is what matters. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and press the subscribe button now and little notification button so you're notified when new episodes drop. Thank you, my friends. We will see you next week. Thank you, Deb. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Be well, my friends. Bye bye.